Worship team, especially that handsome drummer in the back there. That's my guy. If you can't embarrass your kids, you know, what point is there in life? You know what I mean? Hey, glad you're here this morning. We have got a full morning of awesome stuff, and one of the least awesome things is happening right now, and that is this orange connection card. If you've been around, hey, all right. If you've been around Trinity, you know every October we use our connection cards to just gather a snapshot of who we are and who you are and how we can best serve the people that God has here as our faith family. And so one of the things we ask is that in the month of October that you fill out this card in its entirety. And even if you've been here for 50 years or if you've been here for 15 minutes, we want you to fill this card out. And we love to be able to just use this data to really help serve you better. So here's an example of how we use this data to do things. One of the things, you know, we're in this time of pastoral transition, looking for the person that God has for us next. And one of the things we did is we sent out a survey about, hey, what kind of qualities do we want in our next pastor? Well, if we don't have an up-to-date email address for you, you might not have had that survey, for example. So that's just one simple example of how this information is used. So here's what I'm going to ask you to do. I'm going to ask you to take a moment right now and fill it out in its entirety. Again, even if you filled it out over the past couple of Sundays, want to fill it out again in its entirety. And the second thing that you want to think about is fill it out for the people who are with you this morning. So if you've got somebody who's off hunting or homesick or pretending to be homesick but really hunting, you know, fill it out for the people who are here, not for the people who might not be here. So I'm going to give you a few minutes to do that, and then we'll continue in our worship service.
Good morning. I want to thank you all for being here this morning. I don't know about you guys, but this has been an extremely nice fall we've had so far. Don't you think it's been just about the most beautiful fall we've had in a few years? Really nice out. Yesterday morning, I got a cup of coffee with a friend, and we went for a drive up the mountains for like 3 hours. We went way up Tiger Canyon and made a big loop, and if you know the area, came down Government Road. If you don't know the area, you should try the loop sometime. It was beautiful. The tamaracks were glowing yellow. It was just amazing to see the beauty that surrounds us, and sometimes we forget that. It was fun to see. It was also fun to see this morning. I get here, so I came this morning and unlocked the church. It's about 7:30, and I pull into the parking lot, and the parking lot is full, and there's people everywhere. When you come into a church parking lot at 7:30 on a Sunday morning and it's full, you know there's something weird going on, and it's probably not church. But if you know, the balloon stampedes happened this weekend. It's been fun to see the balloons going up. It's just been a great weekend. It's good to see all you guys here now enjoying Sunday morning worshiping with us. So as Chris has mentioned this morning, we have a lot going on here at Trinity, and we want to share some of those things. So if you want to take a look at the announcements behind me on the screen, that'd be wonderful.
Good morning and welcome to Trinity. My name is Emily and I am so glad you joined us today. I want to especially welcome our guests. To let us know you are here today, please fill out the orange connection card in your worship folder. Don't forget to flip it over and write down any prayer requests or comments you may have. Later in the service, you can drop it in the offering basket. We've got some great stuff to let you know about this week, so check it out.
I know it's a little early to talk about Christmas, but it's never too early to talk about Operation Christmas Child. Operation Christmas Child is a great way to spread the word of God and joy across the world. We encourage families to fill up as many shoe boxes as they can. Bring them to Trinity. They're distributed to children around the world. National Collection Week is November 11th through the 19th. You can get more information or cardboard boxes at the table in the foyer. Men, join me and Tim Hutchison for a special Rise Up Men's Group on October 27th, 6 p.m. this time. We'll meet at Tim Thompson's house for a bonfire, barbecue, and some good worship time. Bring some meat and your son and join us.
That's all we have for you today. If you are a guest, I want to encourage you to stop by the Guest Services Center in the lobby to pick up a welcome gift. And if you want to connect with us, you can do so online or through our Trinity app. Have a great rest of your day.
Well, good morning. I said this in the first service, but I still think it's true. That call from Andrew Goen to bring meat, that was compelling. You know, like whatever he says, I feel like I should probably do. That guy, you know. Hey, they say that you can learn a lot about a person based on their search history. It reveals some of our deepest longings and wishes and fears. And for those of us who are Christ followers, we might not just search the web in order to find answers to our deepest longings, but hopefully we'll also search the Bible. And yet we can learn a lot about the kind of things that are on all of our minds when we think about some of the most commonly searched Bible passages. And the most popular verse on the website Bible Study Tools is Jeremiah 29:11. It says this, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you a hope and a future." The second most popular verse on the Bible Gateway site is Jeremiah 29:11. Same verse. Everybody's looking for God's plan for them. Trying to make sense of what we should be doing with our lives. Right behind that in popularity is Romans 8:28. We know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. In fact, most of the top 10 most popular search verses have to do with purpose or with meaning. All of us want to know what God has planned for us, what God's called us to. It's true for people searching these sites. It's even true for pastors. There's a survey of American pastors and ministers that asked these Christian leaders to identify what books were the most influential on their lives and ministries. And the number one response was The Purpose-Driven Life by Rick Warren, a book that sold more than 70 million copies, spent 90 weeks on the bestseller list. We all want to know the purpose that God has for us. What on earth are we here for? None of us wants a wasted life, a life spent pursuing the wrong things or only pursuing our selfish desires. Here's one more interesting statistic for you. We hear all the time about students who graduate from high school and then fall away from the church. And among young adults